Illegal Mexican immigrants commit crime. Muslims commit jihad. Men like math and science, and women aren't athletic. Oh, what's that you say? Oh, you know someone who's not like that. Someone who's an exception to the rule. Oh, and you think that demolishes my entire argument. Oh, okay. Well, you know what? NAXALT! Not all X are like that. In this video, I'm going to explain a common logical fallacy that a lot of those precious snowflakes out there are committing when they have trouble coping with the truth. It's called NAXALT. Not all Mexican illegal immigrants are like that. Not all Muslims are like that. Not all men are like that. And not all women are like that. The list goes on and on. So I'm going to explain where the error is being made. I'm going to give you some examples. And I'm going to lay out the cognitive bias that leads people to arguing NAXALT. I think one of the most classic examples of a NAXALT argument was way back in 2015 when a young man named Donald Trump was running for president. And he made some comments about Mexican illegal immigrants.
When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people.
The response? Outrage! Screeching! Horrified disapproval! How could he say that all Mexican immigrants are rapists? You guys, I'm getting the sense that Donald Trump doesn't like anyone. NAXALT! As we can see in this example, what's happening in the NAXALT fallacy is that the listener is taking a generalized statement and thinking that it applies universally to everyone. Trump didn't just say that there were some illegal immigrants coming from Mexico who may be rapists and drug dealers. He said all Mexicans are rapists. Is that what he said? One way to visualize this is with a bell curve. A generalization is talking about all these people in the middle, the average or the mean. It's a generalization because it's a statement about what most people in that category do. On the end of the bell curve is what we call an outlier, or a precious snowflake. The fallacy is to think that a generalized statement about averages is actually a universal statement about everyone. Now granted, there may be some ambiguity in a statement like, men are more athletic. Do I mean all men are more athletic than all women? Or do I just mean as a general tendency that men are more athletic? So, to make it more clear, sometimes people add a qualifier like generally, or tends to be, or most men are like that. This may help clarify if you start all of your statements with generally speaking, but it could also become cumbersome to add a qualifier every time you speak. For example, check out this article from the BBC. Men are funnier than women, study claims. But the results don't imply that every single man is funnier than every single woman. Oh, good thing they clarified that one. As you can see, when you actually think about it, does this way of interpreting generalized statements even make sense? Is there anyone on the planet who actually believes that every single man is funnier than every single woman? Most people know that that's probably just not what the person's trying to say. Unless you're a triggered leftist. Oh dear. Now I have to say, generally speaking, leftists commit this NAXALT fallacy. Not all leftists, of course, and of course there are people on the right who do this too. Does that help clarify? NAXALT! Another thing that happens when someone jumps in feeling the need to point out the exception to the rule, they're actually undermining your main argument. Pointing out exceptions just detracts from the point being made. So don't let them take you for a detour. And now for some examples. As always, Twitter is full of idiots, so let's pull up Twitter, we'll search for NAXALT, and see what comes up. So as we can see here, there's already some intelligent people out there on Twitter policing these NAXALT fallacies. Good job, folks. Let's scroll through and see what they've found. Not all Muslims are like that. My Muslim immigrant neighbors just delivered notes to all of us offering to help with grocery shopping, errands, for anyone who needs help. These are the same people Donald Trump and his team of Islamophobic morons want to ban from the USA. NAXALT. Not all gamers are like that. Would it be so hard to not call these people such a general term like gamer? I'm a gamer and not like this. You're a gamer and not like this. Some of my following are gamers and not like this. NAXALT. Not all people of color are like this. Skin color is not the defining factor. My dearest friends hold the same values as both of us, but look different from us. It's madness to think that they should be treated differently. NAXALT. Not all immigrants are like that. Trump, the son of an immigrant, says immigration is destroying the fabric of the country. NAXALT. And finally, not all injuries are like that. Here's some guy just giving advice after a tough workout for how to power through some aches and pains. So if you tore a hamstring sprinting or slipped a disc lifting weights, LOL. NAXALT. So why do people do this? Well, one explanation is that people actually have a different cognitive bias that makes them interpret these statements differently. One way to put it is the male way of interpreting a generalization and the female. Of course, not all men and not all women. NAXALT. Imagine a mom with her perfect little baby. How many times have you heard a new mom, just having given birth to her baby, look at that baby and say, it's perfect? For a mom, each one of her children is a unique and precious snowflake. And that's good. We want women to see the unique and special, precious parts of each of their children. Thank you, mothers out there. A man's attention is more focused on defending the family itself. He sees it more as a group. This is a difference of scale. The individual versus larger groups. People who commit the NAXALT fallacy often want their individuality to be appreciated. That's why I'm calling them precious snowflakes. When someone makes a generalization, they're not appreciating the unique and special individual qualities of everyone in that group. So they might be coming from the mothering instinct of wanting to protect that precious outlier. Or they might be coming from the perspective of the child himself. Hey, don't say that about me. I'm here. In both cases, there's a tendency to resist that feeling of people being lumped together and oppressed by generalizations. Men, however, and not all men, look at things on a larger scale, like how to protect one group from another competing group, or how to protect the prosperity of this generation for future generations, or how to organize a giant corporation or a nation. These are things that the male cognitive bias is just adapted better for. This specialization across the genders and across cognitive biases is actually a good thing until they find themselves in an argument. So let's go back to Trump and look at a few more examples. Here are some people who are really confused. It's like saying all white people are serial killers. While there are some white people who are serial killers, we don't say all of them are. When he labels Mexican rapists, he is saying they all are. You won't like it if Mexico said all white Americans are serial killers. NAXALT! That person clearly understands the NAXALT fallacy, but only when someone else is doing it. And look at this person. I mean, most people don't say all Mexican immigrants are thieves and rapists. NAXALT! And this last example gives the perfect demonstration of someone who identifies as the outlier. When racist kickstarted his campaign with Mexicans are rapists, I feared for myself and fellow Mexican Americans. 2017, he enacted Muslim ban. I feared for Muslim Americans. 2020, he blames Asians for COVID. I fear for Asian Americans. He puts a target on us. Call it out. I'm here. NAXALT. So now you have a better understanding of this common logical fallacy, and hopefully you'll be able to recognize it and defend against it. We don't need to fear generalizations. And I'm going to leave you with one more example of how you can defend against the NAXALT fallacy. Take it away, Donald Trump.
Why do you keep calling this the Chinese virus? There are reports of dozens of incidents of bias against Chinese Americans in this country. Your own aide, Secretary Azar, says he does not use this term. He says ethnicity does not cause the virus. Why do you keep using this? A lot of people say it's racist.
It's not racist at all. No, not at all. It comes from China. That's why. It comes from China. I want to be accurate. It comes from China.
NAXALT! As always, if you like these videos, click like, subscribe, and hit the bell. You can also follow me on Facebook, and for more education, check out propertarianism.com.